Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5 The Zone. Welcome in on a Monday morning. Well, week 0 is in the books. Terrible name, not enough football. Need to find a way to play more games in Hawaii or in foreign countries, even if just like run to Toronto or Vancouver or Montreal. Actually had a BYU fan say, go to Calgary. There's tons of BYU fans up there. Wherever. Play that first weekend. The eyes are on the Big 12. Play then. Give yourself a bye later in the year or play a 13th game, either one. Whatever you want. I think ESPN and Fox pay for more games. I don't think there's any doubt about it. Now, as far as the action on the field, K-State and Iowa State, it wasn't great field conditions. It was raining. It was washing the paint off the field. That was crazy watching them repaint the field while the game was going on. There were drops because of the weather, a couple big plays. Iowa State secondary did not cover itself in glory, getting beat deep twice in the fourth quarter when they had the lead on double moves. That was not the smartest football I've ever seen. They got to tighten up the act, and they may well before they get back into conference play. I don't want to judge anyone too harshly on the opener, but it was noticeable. It was absolutely noticeable. Now, Rocco Becht, I thought that was a solid performance by him. He did have to deal with some drops, and it wasn't ideal conditions for throwing the ball. There were some curious decisions there. I don't know why you don't kick the field goal at the half when you're down there. That doesn't make any sense to me. Take the points, get a little momentum. It was a low-scoring game. Kick the field goal, take the points, have the lead going into halftime, feel better about yourself. What about the psychology of it all? Apparently that got blown off. As far as the other Big 12 Mountain West game, Kansas just outclassed Fresno State. Now Fresno State on the road. Group of 5 playing up, and who knows how good either one of these teams are. We could be fooled by a week 1 result. But, man, if you're Kansas, you're opening that stadium. You want to come out with a good performance, and they did. It was 24-7 at the half. They got the other touchdown early, or midway through the third quarter, 31-7, and that was it. Nothing really happened in the last 20 minutes of that game. I thought that, we're looking at all the quarterbacks. How good are the defenses? Now, the Kansas defense gave up a touchdown on the opening drive, but after that, no more points. So that's something to keep an eye on. We've talked about the best quarterbacks in the league. Who has the best defense in the league? Who has the best pass rush in the league? This is all to be sorted out, and we'll try to come up with definitive answers in the first game or two. But you don't know, as many coaches, including Kyle Whittingham, like to say, and I assume Bronco and Kalani have been doing it, they would say the same thing, but I've heard Kyle say it. Man, it's just you got to get 3, 4, 5 weeks in, and then you get an idea who's doing it consistently and who does it one time because the other team's bad. Right? So, and whether that's whatever, pass rush, defending the deep ball, able to stop the run, whatever it is, run the ball, stop the run, all that kind of stuff. And then you got Stanford, who, we thought was probably going to be bad. They lost their quarterback. He transferred to BYU, Bear Bachmeier, so they went with Gulbranson. And, man, he was 15 of 30, threw a pick that really hurt him late in the game. It was just... That was a terrible performance by Stanford. That's really depressing to go out to Hawaii and get beat 23-20 and give up 2 late field goals when it looked like you might win the game and to have the turnover. They did run the ball, so there's that. But, man, you're facing a J-Hill defense. You've got to be able to run inside, run outside, throw short, throw medium, throw deep. If you can't do something, then they just don't defend that, and they go and concentrate on defending stuff you can do. And Stanford clearly does not have the passing game right now. They got their back over 100 yards, so okay, we'll give them that. But, man, if BYU can just stack the line of scrimmage and not worry about the passing game, how easy is that Stanford game going to be? I mean, really, when you looked at the schedule, you thought they were going to start 2-0. But now that you've seen the first week, Tarleton State went to Portland State and won 42-0. As Stanford went out to Hawaii and lost 23-20. Hawaii was favored in that game, depending on where you looked. Basically, Vegas hit the spread in that game. So BYU ought to start 2-0, and it's perfect for starting Bear Bachmeier. The defense should be really good in these first 2 games. They shouldn't give up very many points, so Bachmeier and the offense don't have to do a lot. If they do and they win big, so be it. They are 43-point favorites this week. 43-point favorites. All right. Excellent. Fantastic. So there's the opening week 0 for football. The other game, there was a Mountain West game, and you Utah State fans might care about this. UNLV really struggled with Idaho State. They got beat on a trick play, a double pass throwback deal for a touchdown and made it 10-0 early. Vegas chased the game. Idaho State was able to move the ball and put points on the board. It was tied 24-all. Idaho State scored, I think it was early fourth quarter, to go up 31-24. I mean, Vegas, what are you doing? What are you doing, Dan Mullen, the former Utah quarterback coach who was at Florida and Mississippi State, is now UNLV's head coach after a few years on the ESPN broadcast or ESPN studio for all their games. Got to give it to them. They did rally late. They got 2 fourth-quarter scores. They turned that thing around and won that game. So got the tying touchdown, got the winning touchdown. But, man, I don't know. Vegas had a great year last year, but the coaching staff is gone. Players scatter. You lose a certain number to seniors. You're going to lose the transfer portal. It's just amazing how everybody – was it Kansas? I think Kansas I think it was Kansas's leading receiver was at Ball State last year, right? We dismissed these guys. He did it at a lower level. We hear a lot of people saying – I actually had a BYU fan telling me that about Devin Dampier after the RSL game, leaving the stadium. Why is Devin getting all this hype? He was in the Mountain West. There are tons of players moving up from the FCS level and from the G5 level and performing well. Basically, everyone's treating the MAC like they used to treat junior colleges. Go there. If you do well your freshman and sophomore year, we'll come get you. And we've seen lots of teams do that. And, it works the same way in the Mountain West. Broncos been really clear about that, hey, they know how the feeding system works. They know how it works. Anyone who excels is going to get offers, period. End of story. So UNLV does have to rebuild. And they did get a Week 1 win, but you try to figure out who's good and who's not. In the Mountain West Conference, if you're a Utah State fan, man, Fresno State and UNLV did not cover themselves in glory here in Week 0. That's to be sure. Hawaii, on the other hand, hey, they got that win. They tend to win at home and lose when they go on the road because every road trip's a long road trip for them. They only have 5 road games this year. So if they could pick off 1 or 2 of them and win at home, who's to say, right? Who's to say? Maybe they'll have a big year. All right, DJ and PK, that's the football. The soccer next, Real Salt Lake. So that's what the top of the league looks like. That's what the best team in the league looks like. If not the best team, one of the best teams in the league. We'll get to that next. Stay with us. Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5 The Zone. Well, Real Salt Lake got beat 3-1 at home by Minnesota. Now, Minnesota's second in the West. Minnesota's a good team. RSL has had some luck with good teams. They split with San Diego, who's first place in the West. Lost at home, but went down to San Diego and won. And Cincinnati is one of the best teams in the East, and they lost to them at home 1-0, but they really battled with them. I thought this game was different. I thought what Pablo Mastroeni said last week about the team not really believing, I thought that was on full display again this week. I thought it was on display in Charlotte. I thought Pablo was right, and I thought it was on full display here. They gave up bad goals in the first 5, 6, 7 minutes of both the first half and the second half. The first half, the ball sent in, man, the center back and the goalkeeper, there's got to be better communication. And I don't know how loud Cabral was. It's like a center field calling off a shortstop or a second baseman. You're the one who's got the view of the play. The other guy doesn't know what's going on. You got to make yourself heard. Now, maybe it was loud. Maybe Glad should have heard him. I don't know. We're on the 4th floor, midfield, and they're way down there at the south end. But Glad didn't know what was behind him, so he headed the ball out and gave up a corner to a team that's really good at set pieces. A team that has 8 players over 6 feet tall. They are a huge team in Major League Soccer. And sure enough, they score on the corner that shouldn't have been given away in the first place. And they score without touching the ball. It's driven in low. Diogo flicks it, changes its path. It hits Vera in the hip and goes in. Own goal, bang, you've gifted a goal. They didn't earn the corner. They didn't earn the own goal. You just gift-wrapped it to them. And then it was a soft giveaway, a bad giveaway between 2 guys who haven't played together. It was Yedlin, who's brand new to the team, and he tries to pass the ball to Caliscan, who's been at right back, but now Yedlin's got that, so he moves to defensive midfield. So he's in a new position this year. It's one he's played historically, but he hasn't played it this season. And these 2 guys haven't played together. They give the ball away, bang, there's another goal. And they lose 3-1. I did think Olatunji was the real deal. My gosh, he created 3 really good chances in the first 25 minutes. Only finished one of them, did get the game's first goal. And then you see him out there just destroying people. So big, so fast, so strong, plays so aggressive with such confidence. Then he comes into the press room. He's just the nicest, soft-spoken guy. The athletes who can do that, who can just turn it on when they step across the line and then turn it off when they step back, really amazes me. It just amazes me. Here's Victor Olatunji after he scores the goal in the 3-1 loss to Minnesota.
My first impression is I'm very happy to be here first, and also the fans also, to be here in this kind of atmosphere is also an opportunity for me, so I'm very happy. That's my first impression.
Was the elevation hard to deal with?
I think from when I came was very hard, but now I'm okay with it.
Can you take us through the goal and some of the other early chances you had and how they were created and how you think you can improve on some of them going forward?
Yes, I will still improve on everything because I'm still a human being. But during the goal, for the goal, I just know that he's going to play inside because we train for the past couple of days. We train for this, and I just need to be in the box at the right with the right runnings, and I just put it at the back of the net.
Yes.
It's a pretty cool hat. Where'd you get your hat from?
From Prague. I got it from Prague, yes.
And then how has your acclimation to MLS in general and to the United States been so far?
I mean, for me, it's strange. I will be honest, it's strange because the system and also the tempo is different from where I'm coming from. So I think it's different from where I'm coming from.
I had a question. You just came here from Europe, a continental, move. Is it easy? You scored in your first game at home. Is it easy to come to a new place and just start scoring?
No, it's not easy. 100%, it's not easy. But as a professional in what I'm doing or what I do, I just need to adapt to the system as quick as possible. The US is not my first country to play in. I've played in different countries. I just need to adapt to the system and get it from there.
Hey, Victor. In the time you've been here, in your conversations with Pablo, has he laid out any kind of specific things that he's trying to get you to do, or is it just kind of just be in front of goal, cause distractions? Is he just trying to keep it simple, or is he giving you specific instructions?
No, yeah, he is because he's a coach, and I'm also a player that worked with him, and he gave me some important decision and some things to do on the pitch and off the pitch also.
All right, there's Victor Olatunji. Now here's the head coach, Pablo Mastroeni.
The guys executed the game plan. However, the game state's different. And so, we can talk about how we wanted to attack the game, how we wanted to defend the game. At the end of the day, when you concede a goal like that, and the second one as well, I think they were soft. They were soft goals. And so, from an attacking perspective, I love the way we got balls in the box and fed the big guys up there. And obviously the goal that we scored is probably one of the best goals we scored all year. So it just comes down to, especially against this team, that prides themselves on set pieces. And that's something that I think we balanced the right way this week, where it wasn't over the top, but it was this is where they're good. And so we've got to be better. And tonight we weren't in that phase.
So they knocked you out in the playoffs last year, and they went 2-0 and 3-1 this year. This lineup tonight, going with their listed heights, 8 guys 6 feet or taller, 2 guys 5'11", and Will Trapp. And the way you played so many short corners, it looked like it was angles trying to work around big guys. As much as the RSL roster's been rebuilt and 3 new starters in the lineup tonight, do you have to keep looking for more size given what you're running up against?
I think it's really the modern game. I think you watch football all over the world, and size matters, speed matters, and those I think become the nuanced part of the game. It's not you don't want just a big guy who can't play soccer, but I think there is value in having a team that can defend set pieces and attack set pieces the way they do. And so I think from our part is we want to continue to work on that phase of the game. And again, the guys have been, when we're training it, it's hard to recreate the pressure on said corner kick in training. It's because the tactic is understood, but then the playmaking within that has to show up on Saturday, if not. So to your question, I think, I think the size that we've got in Victor and Juan, I think make a difference. I think change the profile of the way we attack. If teams are going to give us the half space for our 10s to run into, that's great. But if not, if they're closing that off, then we have two guys in the box that can use their size and their aerial ability to get points on the board. So, yeah.
You gave up a goal early in the first half, also gave up a goal early in the second half. What went wrong in the giveaway? Because clearly that was in a bad spot there.
Yeah. Again, it's anytime those plays happen, it's always the passer and the receiver, right? I think it's both of those things. And to be fair, though, having given that play, that initial play up, we still had two more chances to have some good box defending to put that fire out. So again, if we're going to be a team that wants to throw numbers forward and really press them, the way we defend in transition, and it's something that we continue to work on, has to be elite. Has to be elite for those moments. Again, because we don't want teams to dictate to us how we want to play, right? We want to continue to get better at the way we want to play. And unfortunately tonight, that third goal really took the wind out from our sails and allow them to get kind of comfortable doing what they like to do, which is defend deep.
It looked like Olatunji had 3 good chances early in the game. Is the way he plays with his size, his speed, his aggressiveness, and his willingness to just keep moving, is that going to create gravity and open the game up for Diego Luna when they finally get to play together? Yeah,
I think so. I think the one thing with Victor is that, again, I think we have to modify the way we get balls into the box. It can't always be on the ground. Right? I think he allows us to be more diverse in the way we want to get balls in the box, but he is really comfortable with his feet in tight areas as well. I think you saw tonight, like these one-touch layoffs, he's fantastic in what he's done. So I think, again, his understanding of the way we want to play, and more importantly, his teammates and how he can play off of them. And that's why these next couple of weeks are really important to have Diego Luna in camp and getting those relationships going, because I think he's going to always occupy a minimum of 2 players, and that leaves space for a guy like Diego to reap the benefits of that.
So given the fact that, oddly, you're not going to play another game for 3 weeks now, how much of this is about time off and rest and recuperation? How much is about training camp, essentially, a mini camp to integrate these players?
Listen, we want to get to the playoffs. There's no time to take time away. I mean, even if it's tactical, if it's video sessions, we aren't where we want to be, right? And the commitment that we have to each other, to our fans, it's a non-negotiable that we get better and use this time in a way that's going to move this group forward. And that can only be done with the collective being together, spending time together, believing together. And I think that's what breeds great teams. And so we'll use this time as a mini camp, as you said, because again, if we don't get to the playoffs, then we have 10 weeks. I don't even know how many. We don't have time. We got to really commit to our craft, to our profession. We got a lot of people that we're responsible for, and that weighs.
You have 4 defensive midfielders. You played quite a bit. Obviously, with so many suspensions, you played Pablo Ruiz a little out of position tonight. But you let Caliscan go 90 minutes, and he hasn't even been playing that position all season. What does that say about what you saw from him this week and what you saw from him during the first 45 or 60 minutes tonight?
Yeah, no, I think, again, Noel is probably the best communicator that we have in that group, in that three group. He's been playing a more defensive position, obviously as a right back, a stay-at-home right back. And so in this game, I thought it was important to make sure that we had someone that was really dialed into the defensive side of the game and for transitions. So positioning, communication to the players around him, and also really thinking the game from that perspective to allow Mecca to bomb forward and run the half space, which I thought he did a great job. So I think now, moving down the stretch, we have players that have all different types of attributes, and to be able to utilize them for specific games is I think the way we'll go towards the end of the season.
You really spotted Johnny Russell, and tonight you gave him about 60 minutes. That was a pretty long run. How did he play?
I thought he did well. And obviously it's tough when you're not getting a consistent run of games. But I think he, in the first half, he made some plays in the attacking half. There's one cross in particular that he put in. And again, I think that's why we wanted a left footer on the right side, because what they do a really good job of is giving you the line defensively. And when you have a 5 line, it's really hard to get to the end line to get across. And so they have to respect the line because we have a half space runner. And if they do that, then it's a chop and serve. And we wanted to create a lot of chances at the top of the box, and we did that today. And the one thing that was lacking was the decision of what to do next. Is this a shooting opportunity, or do I just stay calm in this moment and find that extra pass, maybe release the weak side wing back to get another great opportunity? So some things that the guys did, the guys executed really well as far as the game plan. And now we just need to fine tune some of these decisions at the top of the box to create better chances from them.
After Johnny had served some in, he played like a no-look ball, I think, with the outside of his left foot and just kind of let it drift to the top of the box for Caliscan, who stopped his run. Is that a case of two guys who haven't played together, not able to read each other?
Absolutely right. And I think that's kind of what we've run into, in particular as of late, with these suspensions and bringing players in. Obviously he's been playing on the right. DeAndre comes, he's playing in the middle. And it's been just kind of start-stop from building that continuity and chemistry that we need to be able to execute. I think that's a great example of getting into really good spots, and then it just kind of not getting more from those moments. So we'll continue to work it. I think the effort from everyone tonight was fantastic. I think they executed really well. The commitment when the ball turned over to repress. I think the one thing that leaves me a bit frustrated is the goals we gave up. And the first goal, I don't know if we can do better on the first header, but then it hits off somebody and goes in. Second one, we give up a foul in a non-dangerous area against a really good set piece team, and then don't handle the set piece well. So if we're just talking about soccer without set pieces, I think the guys were fantastic tonight, but unfortunately that's not the case.
Thanks. DeAndre gets to start tonight, goes a full 90. That's on his debut.
I think it speaks to his experience to be able to come into a group. Cincinnati play completely different, right? They don't play close to the opponent's first line of confrontation. And so in 2 or 3 days, sitting down with the coaches and really understanding how important it is. What I really liked about DeAndre's performance tonight was his desire to drive forward with the ball. Oftentimes when we get it on the rotation, if there's not a real clear pass, we'll end up rotating again. Where he engaged, made a couple really nice passes, essentially that just led to different types of opportunities, whether it was a switch to the weak side or a combination centrally. So I think, given that he just joined us a day and a half ago, he had a fantastic performance and one that he can definitely build on as we move forward.
There's Pablo Mastroeni's post-game. Now, they don't play again for 3 weeks. Next week's game with Seattle was moved because Seattle's got a Leagues Cup game. The week after that's international play. There's a break. So a chance for a mini training camp here and see if RSL can pull it together. Only 7 games left in the season. We're going to take a break. When we come back, David Locke talking hoops. Stay with us. Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5 The Zone. David Locke joined us on Friday. Talked a lot of basketball with him. A lot of theories on how things are going to go, how things are going to shape up. From expansion in the league to Jazz decisions on the roster to why guys are paid what they're paid. And, man, the fact that teams now have to hit 90% of the cap, that's the floor, players who don't make a difference between winning and losing are going to get paid. So don't get trapped into those long-term, I guess, is the best thing I can say. You're going to have to pay somebody, but try not to get trapped into it long-term. All right, David Locke talking with us, DJ and PK. Here is the radio voice of the Utah Jazz right here on The Zone. You said something last week that got PK going, and he talked to me about it over the weekend, and we've talked about it a little bit during the show, but we want to get back to you.
I don't even remember talking to PK last week. The only reason I'm doing this is I thought I'd missed like 3 weeks in a row.
No, you were here last week.
You were here last week.
I'm just kidding.
Okay. So you said Markkanen signed a 4-year deal, and you thought the deal he signed with the way things are going in the league now, you didn't think he'd be traded. and you thought he would be on the team the next time the Jazz were in the playoffs. Now, he signed for the next 4 seasons. They've missed the playoffs 3 years in a row. If you're right and he doesn't get traded and he plays all 4 years, he probably would be on the next team, unless you think they're going to go 7 years without making the playoffs. How far away are they? How long will it take? But right now, the Hornets at 9 and the Spurs at 6 are the 2 teams that have gone the longest without playing in the postseason. So, was that your logic there, that he's going to be here all 4 years and that the rebuild is going to bear some fruit in that time span and not going to have some 7-year streak?
I think the logic is multifaceted, and that's part of it, is that if we are going to make the playoffs sometime in the next, we're not making the playoffs this year. We're probably not making the playoffs next year. So then the question is, does it accelerate? Does it happen in year 3 of his deal or year 4 of his deal, or is it that he's going to actually re-sign another deal after that? I still think we're really far away, right? Like, we have the lowest, over-under of any team in the NBA right now. You can't be further away. But when it accelerates, it will be done with Lowry as a part of it. And that's why Lowry is important to keep on the roster right now. If you take Lowry off the roster, you still have to fill the salary slot. You can't just – the day and age of going down to $60 million salary and then just piecing it back together is over because of the new collective bargaining agreement. So you might as well have Lowry on the roster so that when you do try to get better, you have a player. And then the other thing that I do think that Lowry's contract makes it very difficult to trade him. At $40+ million, the way the league's going right now, I don't think your third best player can be $40+ million. I think Lowry's a third player. Because unless you have one of your front players under cost control, which means they're still on the rookie deal. And in the case of the Jazz, if they're going to make the playoffs in the next 3 or 4 years, it's going to be because Ace Bailey or AJ or whoever they draft this year starts to click in, and by year 3 or 4 is ready to go. They're probably your second best player at that point. You've probably signed your best player as a free agent. Lowry's your third best player. Now you're really good and you're ready to go. And that's the route. So I think Lowry is important for the Jazz to have him as a part of their roster so that when they do kick in, you have a piece that's good, and he's really, really good. And part 2, I think the negative for other teams, which is that his salary is now over-slotted for probably a third best player on a team, is not a problem for the Jazz. So you combine those 2 things, and I think Lowry will be on the team next time the Jazz play in the playoffs.
How about also that you just can't get anything close to value, so what's the point of trading him?
Right, and you have to take back salary.
Yeah.
Like, there was a period of time where you could do this and you just saved a bunch of money, but despite what Draymond Green says with his, 2/3 knowledge on most topics he talks about, the fact is, yes, there is a salary issue going on with a hard cap where players are not getting some money and things of that nature, but the bottom of the league is getting more money. And the allocation of money to the players is the exact same as what it was prior. And so, yeah, it's capping certain teams from spending. But the other rule that no one talks about in this new collective bargaining agreement is that you have to be at 90% of the salary cap. That's really new. And, the Jazz, the George Niang deal, I think, is partially the Jazz needed to get to the salary floor. And so what a better way to do it than with maybe the best human being I've ever met in the NBA and have him on your roster and hit the salary floor. And that's what the Jazz, so you have to be at the salary floor now. So if you trade Lowry, you're not doing it and not bringing back $40 million worth of contracts. You have to have those contracts.
Well, there's 30 teams and somebody's got to lose. So they have to be bad teams across whatever the bottom 5, 10, 12, whatever teams. If they have to pay 90%, then there's going to be bad players
trying to create,
get overpaid.
The league's trying to create it that there aren't bad teams.
Well, okay.
That's what the league is trying to create, is that there are not 2 or 3 teams on top that are so dominant because they're spending the way Golden State did for those years, or back in the past, we go back to other teams over the years that just overspent everyone. That doesn't always work, but it does work a little. And they're trying to make sure that there's not a team like the Oklahoma City Thunder a few years ago where literally they decided, we only want to talk about how great all the Thunder things are, but they did a lot of things to really damage the league. One of the things they did was they decided to pay well under the salary floor, and then the way the rule worked it meant that they were like $10 million on the floor and every player on their roster got $1 million. So the league changed the rule, and now if you're under the salary floor, it just goes into a pot that goes to the players. It doesn't go to your players. So they de-incentivized ever being – it actually was to your advantage to be under the salary floor before and all your players' advantage. Now they've changed that, and so every team in the league has to be at 90%, and I think you just will have less terrible teams. You're still going to have as many teams that lose, right?
Yeah, but you're going to have bad teams. Yeah, bad players are going to get overpaid. Or mediocre, not bad, mediocre players are going to get paid like stars.
Yeah, or Joe Ingles is going to get a contract on a year where it just doesn't seem to make sense. Right? Like Joe's kind of done, right? Like he didn't play much last year, and yet he got another year. Well, okay, like because there's some value to that. But I also think that you're just going to have teams, Utah's about as torn down as you can be right now and has Lowry at $40 million. Washington is about as torn down, but they've got Chris Middleton and a few other players that are veteran players that are pretty good. What they're going to do with them, we'll see. But they can put out a pretty viable five.
So what happens as far as playing time, do you think, with guys like Kyle Anderson, Kevin Love, you already mentioned Niang?
So I'll be surprised if we see Kevin Love this year, but maybe not. I mean, maybe that. I'm actually surprised he's still officially on the roster at this point. I would have thought that maybe he would have moved by now, and maybe not. Maybe Kevin Love's at a stage in his career where he did used to either own a house or lived a summer or two in Park City. So maybe he's deciding, like, actually, I want to be here and be a veteran leader. And he's, I don't know, but I didn't expect him to stick around. I think that's the Drew Eubanks, Patty Mills, Sima Luke role of last year for those guys, which is be ready, be a pro, help our young kids. And, inevitably, Isaiah Collier and Walter Clayton and these guys are going to struggle miserably at some point in the year. And rather than letting their head get bashed in again, you let Kyle Anderson play a little bit and relieve them of the burden. Or, maybe Walter Clayton and Isaiah Collier are really struggling and we're just not even getting into our offense. We're not getting – okay, that's actually – Kyle Anderson's basically a point guard. So you have him come in as a veteran and get people settled. Maybe – Kyle's really struggling and other guys are this, and you bring Kevin Love in to have some semblance of order on the basketball floor. I think, you have to be a little careful of having – it's cute and it's fun, but we all have watched it. When you have 5 kids under the age of 22 or 23 on the floor together, it can get pretty ugly pretty fast, and no one's gaining anything out of that. So those guys can be valuable to hold the order a little bit and to give a semblance of organization.
We're seeing the international basketball tournaments happening now. Markkanen's lighting up Poland and whoever else. And we're seeing
it really seems almost unfair when he kills those guys, doesn't he?
Yeah, they don't have
7-1, 7-1. Like who's the guy from Rocky, Drago or whatever? Like the greatest physical specimen on the planet. Lowry is like seriously a superior physical specimen, and then there's this like 6'4" Polish guard trying to deal with him. Yeah, it seems really almost unfair.
We're seeing Kansas State and Iowa State go to Ireland and play a college football game. We're seeing the NFL go to multiple countries. Is the NBA at some point here going to be opening the season with everybody going and playing a couple games overseas before they come back? I mean, it's an international sport, but the NBA doesn't play foreign games at the rate other sports seem to be.
So it's interesting you bring this up. So I actually talked to Adam about this, Adam Silver, probably now a long time ago, probably 8 years ago, because Adam Silver in his first, maybe even longer, but when he was first taking over as commissioner, he actually came into town, and I finished an interview with him, and he's like, okay, you've been in the league. He's like, I looked you up. You've been in the league for 17 years. What would you do? And of course, I had an answer because you would too, David. And one of the things I said is I would start the entire league overseas in 4-team tournaments. Kind of, I was doing the in-season cup, but I'd have the Brazil Cup, and I'd have the Tokyo Cup, and I'd have the London Cup, and and you expand to 32, and you send 8 groups of 4 around the country to do this. And that's how you start the season. And you come back and have an extended training camp, and you compete a little less with football in your season. And he said it's a great idea, but every arena has a lease for 43 home games. And so the leases for these basketball arenas mean that you have to play a certain amount of home games, and that prohibits your ability to take what is 1 or 2 of these home games out of and put them overseas. And so until those leases change, I don't think you can do that. I do think, though, I will take this from an international standpoint. I wonder a little bit whether the stalling on expansion, which was very clear in the last meeting that they were going to look at it, but it was not here comes Seattle and here comes Vegas, is not that the next move, and it's probably 5 years from now, is 4 teams, one in London, one in Barcelona, one in Paris, and one in Berlin. And that's actually the next move. It's a 4-team expansion. Maybe Memphis ends up in Seattle. Maybe some other franchise ends up in Vegas, and you move things around in the States. But that the next major move is a 4-team expansion. I don't quite know how you do the math with 34, but I do think it's very doable. I think that, for example, how you do it travel's the first question. The Utah Jazz go off and play a game against Charlotte and Orlando, and then they fly to Europe and they play all 4 teams. And I actually think the entire division of 4 goes over with them at the same time. And so those teams know they have an extended homestand. You go over and play. You probably play Philadelphia on the way back, and then you come to Utah and get 3 or 4 days off. It's a 7-game road trip. It's definitely longer. Maybe you'd reduce the schedule down to 76 at that point in some way, or do something of that sort, which is hard with the arena thing I just talked about. But I think that's the next. I'm not sure that that's off the table for expansion. I keep wondering, there's just not enough of a pro for the owners right now to add Seattle and Vegas. It doesn't do them. It doesn't add TVs. It doesn't add a fandom. It doesn't change the league. It just adds teams. And that's why I think there's a reluctancy to it, and nobody wants to divide $44 billion or whatever whatever that $1 billion TV contract was amongst 2 other teams. So you go add that to that league, and the NBA is already kind of dancing right now with this new European league. I think that's setting the groundwork by which we expand into Europe and be the first professional league to be worldwide.
I think they should open in St. George with 4 teams, and then we could have the Dixie Cup.
Sounds great.
Good answer, David. That was very flat lines.
Thanks for contributing today, PK.
All right, I got one more for you. You mentioned AJ, and that's DeBonsa. So obviously they're going to lose and be in the position, and then we'll see how the lottery shapes out, and maybe they get lucky this time instead of whatever. But with the veterans that you mentioned, because that was my prior question, Markkanen being the lead guy, obviously, and then those other guys that are at the tail end, you don't see a situation, even if those guys play, and Markkanen plays 65 games and averages 32 minutes a game, you still don't see a way that would get the Jazz out of the lottery, right? They'd still have some pretty good odds to be able to, or as good odds as you can get, I guess, to have this opportunity to get a kid like DeBonsa. Yeah,
the roster as it's structured right now, for us to win more than 25 games,
no matter what,
would mean that Keontae has to really click in as a bona fide NBA number 2 scorer with efficiency. Would mean that, obviously Walker would have to, I don't think Walker's kind of shown what he is, but he'd have to be an elite defensive force. Lowry would have to have an all-star year, which really, if you look at Lowry's numbers, they've never been the same since Mike Conley left. So I'm not sure that all-star level Lowry, it wasn't a little bit of a Mike Conley creation. Ace Bailey would have to just be way readier than – I expect Ace Bailey to shoot 38% this year and have a terrific year. I think if you go back and look at LeBron, he shot 41%, and Kevin Durant shot 41% as rookies. I don't think you shoot much more than that, as a rookie. And I think Ace will shoot 38%. I just can't – Ace Bailey would have to shoot 45%, average 19 points. Taylor Hendricks would have to become a bona fide defensive force, averaging 15 and 7. I think he could probably do that after the All-Star break. I just can't find a script. The amount of things that have to happen for this roster to be a 30-win team. Maybe Will stun us in some way, and maybe – but I can't put that together in my head. Vegas has us at, 18.5 or 17.5? It's the lowest number since the 76ers process team. Vegas doesn't miss by 20 games.
Yeah. And Vegas
is
real.
Fine. I think that
they're usually spot on.
And I don't mean that negatively.
No, I got you. Yeah.
But this is the point.
Reality.
Is right. I suspect like I'm being harsh here for a second. Like I suspect there's going to be a moment in time where Isaiah Collier doesn't play in a game. Like that he's shooting 22% from three.
CD?
Yeah, at some point, like, yeah, and Will's like, yeah, you know what, if you don't, like, you're shooting 22% from three, if you don't defend at 75 feet every minute of every day, that you're not going to make it in this league. But the like, there's a little bit of, like, that they've unleashed or handcuffed Will Hardy to be able to really coach these guys now.
Yes.
Right? Like,
oh, yeah.
Like,
and at that press
right?
conference, he could not have embraced that more.
Right. Like,
are you looking
yeah,
forward to very? Very. It was a two-word answer. He said very twice. It was awesome.
Right. And I don't mean that, like, I think Isaiah Collier's terrific. Like, I think he's a wonderful kid, first of all, as a person. Second of all, his desire, his passion, his energy. Like, I think he's got a future in the league. He's got to figure out what it is. But, you know, I can't get over the fact that in Summer League, he ran a pick and roll at 15 feet and they went under.
They do not respect
that's a problem.
him. Yeah.
Like, you can't. If they're going under as a point guard at 15 feet, like, you're going to have a hard route to being an NBA player. That's just the facts. Like, I go back to Will Hardy's comment in a press conference last year at about game 74, where he got asked about, like, he might as well have been asked about whether he thought Pluto was a planet, because it didn't matter what he was asked. And his answer was, you know, there's a bunch of guys starting on this team, and it doesn't mean they're NBA starters. You know, just because you start on this team doesn't mean you're the NBA. Like, he was sending the message really clearly to a bunch of his guys that you're getting time right now, but it does not mean you're NBA established. And that was a very clear message. And these guys, actually, to their credit, have all taken that message, because the amount of time they've spent here, the amount of work, how they've transformed their bodies. I saw Bryce yesterday or 2 days ago. He looks wildly different. Taylor's incredible how much his body has transformed. I hope we can do before and after pictures of Taylor, because it's amazing. So these guys have done all the work. They've shown all the effort. Now it's hard. Now the hard work, like, they've done that. They've done what they can control, which is beautiful. But now it's time against the greatest players in the world to see where you rank up, and it's super hard. And I think we're going to see, I just can't see the amount of where the conversation started. There's 4 or 5 things that would have to happen for us to suddenly be a 30-win team. It would be a hell of a story. It'd be pretty awesome. And it would mean that Keontae is bona fide, that Taylor is a starter, that Isaiah has figured out how to play point guard, that Ace Bailey is not 18 somehow, that Walker is still leading the league in offensive rebounds and block shots and a force inside. You know, I mean, there's a bunch of pieces, and Lowry's having an all-star caliber year. Then then maybe you can win 35 games, and you're in question of whether you get out of the lottery. But I just, that's a lot of things to come together at one time.
Why did you choose
And I don't
Pluto?
I don't think it's the intention of this season, actually. I think that may be the more important thing. But I don't think that's where the intention of this season isn't to do that. The intention of this season is for Isaiah Collier to be out there guarding Ja Morant and show, okay, how are you going to do it? Because that's what you can – if you're going to be an NBA starting point guard, this is what you got to do. You got to take Ja Morant tonight, and you got to take, whoever the next night. And they're all different, and what's your matchup and how you're handling it. And, how you can be the 15th best point guard in the NBA. Keontae, how are you going to do this? Like, how are you not going to be rated the second worst defensive player in the NBA with only Corey Kispert behind you? What are you going to do? Like, that's what this year's about.
What's amazing to me is that Collier at one point was viewed as the number 1 recruit in the country. He can't shoot. How do you get that status?
I do think so if you go back, this is actually worthwhile to do in the next segment because it's pretty interesting. If you go to Basketball Reference and go back, so if you go to Basketball Reference, Isaiah Collier shows you number 1 recruit, and go click on the rank of those players, it's pretty clear that because of COVID, nobody could rank players that year.
Oh.
I think the top 10 players, DJ, if you can pull it up really fast.
Yeah, he knows to go to you.
Go Basketball Reference, Isaiah Collier, and click on the rank. I believe of the top 10 players in that high school class, only one of them or 2 of them are in the NBA, and I'm not sure either of them become NBA.
Okay, I'm on Isaiah's page, but I don't know where to go to click on the rank.
So see where it says under his bio. See under it says his bio, it says high school rank, and it's got 1.
Yeah, you see it's right there.
His height, weight, rank.
Nope.
Yeah.
There's no rank.
No, it's right there.
Stop it.
Okay. I'll send you a link, old man.
I got his Instagram, but I don't have his.
Okay, I'll send you a link.
Pops.
Oh, there it is.
Oh yeah, see, I knew he could do it.
Yeah,
there it is. Got it. No, they had to fold it in.
You didn't hit me.
You didn't hit me hit the drop down button.
Dixie cups.
So here it is. Ron Holland 2.
Okay.
Justin Edwards 3.
Undrafted free agent on Philadelphia right now. We'll see if he makes it.
Aaron Bradshaw, 4.
Not in the league.
Cody Williams, 5.
Okay, we'll see.
DJ Wagner Jr., 6.
Not in the league.
Modest Buzelis, 7.
Probably the highest prospect right now, but we'll see.
Jacoby Walter, 8.
Yeah.
Stephen Castle, 9.
Yeah.
Mackenzie Mbako,
Yeah, right.
10.
Yeah, keep going, like, right? And then the next group is, like, I mean, there's clearly some COVID scouting going on in that year.
Okay, there it is.
Whew. That was close, man. If
You can take the reading glasses off now.
if you hadn't figured it out, that would have been bad.
Actually, the show's streamed. People can see I have no glasses on right now.
Oh,
Everyone
okay.
And I have no clothes on right now.
Look at you.
No.
And I wonder the numbers are what they are.
Very, very low. Low,
And I still want to know, why did you choose
Are you
Pluto
blurry?
and not
By the way, are you
Uranus?
blurry? Do they make you blurry on the stream video?
blur out PK.
No, they just use Dixie cups.
Okay, great. Super.
Come on, that was
Why?
good.
Why do you do
People can
this?
see me smiling on camera.
Why do you do this?
It's not a belly laugh good, but it's good.
What your reaction was.
Did I mention that I love doing this every Friday, or did I say that I abhor it?
A little bit of both, probably, like everybody else. It's just kind of the show. I got news for you. It's not just Friday, David.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought it was only. I moved out of the 8 o'clock slot to 8:30, thinking it would change things.
Oh, you ought to be here at 9 o'clock. Yak, tell them about the 9 o'clock hour.
Man.
That's when
dear.
PK really cuts loose.
Oh dear.
All right,
I don't
David, we'll
want
talk
anyone
to you
I
again.
don't want anyone blurry with Dixie cups cutting loose.
Talk to you again in a week, David. You're the man.
See ya, bye.
That's you, bye. There's David Locke talking hoops. A reminder to join Hans and Scotty G Wednesday from noon to 3 at My Hearing Centers, 8941 South, 700 East in Sandy. DJ and PK, it's 97.5 The Zone. What is trending? The headlines are next.